Thank you for joining our webinar on Woman-Owned Small Business Certification. My name is James Forrest. I'm the Program Coordinator for Norcal PTAC. That is the Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And we are very thankful to have partnered with A New America Women's Business Center in Oakland for today's webinar. And we have their director, Darlene Neal, joining us today just to say a bit about what they do. Thanks, Darlene.
Yeah.
And from PTAC, we have our very own procurement specialist, Nancy Pigeon, for the main presentation about woman-owned small business certifications. Before I hand things over to them, I want to just give a little spiel about PTAC and this kind of services that we offer and what we can do for businesses like you. We are a nonprofit program. We're a small little program. We're set up to help small businesses achieve success in the government marketplace. We're funded by the DLA. We also get grant funding from state and local funds. And all of this grant funding means that we can provide our services at no cost to you. We are hosted by the Humboldt State University Sponsored Programs Foundation. That's in Arcata, California, where the red star is up in the north part of the state in Humboldt County. Last year, Norcal PTAC actually helped our clients win more than $268 million in government contracts. The way we do that is with three basic core services. The bread and butter of it is one-on-one counseling. So a procurement specialist, for instance, Nancy here, she's one of our procurement specialists. She can help you individually with just about any government contracting topic you can think of. If your business is located in one of our green counties here on the map, then you are eligible to apply for our services. And then if you are accepted, we can set you up with a procurement specialist who can meet with you via phone, video conferencing, emailing, etc., to help walk you through the processes of selling your goods and services to the government. Second thing we offer are these workshops like this one. These days they're virtual, but we also have in-person ones during non-apocalyptic times. And we offer these to the public in general. These are not just for our client base. You don't have to be in Northern California. If you're interested in these certifications and learning about our government contracting tips, share them with your friends on the East Coast, wherever they want to be. So you can find more upcoming events at norcalptag.org/calendar. We have it all put on there. As soon as we know what we're doing with an event, we put it up there. I'm also going to go over some of the upcoming events at the end of the webinar. Third thing we do is we have this bid matching service that we set up with our clients. So this is something specific for clients, for our client base. It's a free service. It gives you daily access to federal, state, local, and even prime contractor opportunities. You put in some criteria, what you're looking for, and then the system will send you bid opportunities right into your inbox so you can stay on top of those opportunities. So long and short of it is if your business is located in one of these 15 counties, please apply for our services if you're interested. All counseling can be provided remotely, so you don't need to leave your office to get the help you need. And all you need to do is go to our website, again, norcalptag.org, look for that red Apply Now button, create an account. Once you click on it, fill out steps 1 through 7. If you've ever worked with a Small Business Development Center, that's a SBDC in our region, then you should instead email me at info@norcalptag.org. That's the email address in the bottom of the page, and I'll send you a special link to apply. Another note that we are one of just about 95 PTACs nationwide. So if you're not in one of these counties and it's stressing you out, me saying that you won't be eligible, don't worry. You're probably in the service area of another PTAC. There's PTACs all around and they offer much the same services that we do. So we encourage you to look up your own local PTAC. There's the link there, aptac-us, find a PTAC. You can also just type in find a PTAC and it'll probably be the first thing that pops up. We are monitoring the Q&A feature. In this version of webinar, there is a chat and a Q&A. I want to make it clear, not to be rude, but please don't enter your questions into the chat. When they're coming in two different directions, it's hard for us to keep track. So in the Q&A feature, if you put your question in there, we will see it and we will get to it during the Q&A. If you have a question for Darlene, you can specify that. If you have a question for Nancy, you can specify that. Keep your questions broad enough to be of interest to everybody, but then also be specific so that there's no lack of clarity. Everyone started off muted. Your videos are off. If you'd like to ask a question out loud, you can raise your hand and we'll look into getting you unmuted to ask something out loud once we get to that point. One more reminder, we are recording this. The slides and the presentation will be emailed to everyone. So no need to ask about that. And we're gonna be getting started right here. So let's hand things first over to Darlene Neal, who again is the director of the New America Women's Business Center.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. We welcome you this morning for this wonderful topic for the webinar. And just to give you a little background about New America, we are a 20-year nonprofit organization, and we are located in the Oakland Fruitvale District. We also have a location in our San Jose, California area as well. New America has hosted the Women's Business Center for the last 15 years. And also, we are in part funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration Center. And we are here to help you in terms of providing training. We provide one-on-one coaching, counseling, and other support services to help women entrepreneurs with start to successfully grow and enhance their business. In addition, the center supports all women that are existing businesses and anyone that needs our support. Excuse me. Prior to joining the New America community organization, I served 28 years in the financial industry and various roles with helping businesses grow through stages of their business for various sizes. And my passion is to really be a resource to help business owners to realize their dreams of being successful in the business found. We are delighted here again to co-host today's webinar with Northern California PTAC. And this is where you're going to find out a great deal of information about SBA's Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program and how you can use it to leverage your business. Again, thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Darlene. We're very happy to be partnering with you for this webinar. And we're looking forward to nurturing this relationship going forward. So now we have Nancy Pigeon, who is a Norcal PTAC procurement specialist. And she's going to be giving the main presentation on the WOSB certification. So thank you, Nancy. Always enjoy your presentations. So take it away.
Hi, good morning, everyone. As James said, I'm Nancy Pigeon, one of the procurement specialists here at Norcal PTAC. I'm a former contracting officer for the Department of Interior, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the U.S. Air Force. And today I'm going to talk about the SBA Women-Owned and Economically Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Business Program and Certification. But first, just a disclosure, the information provided in this presentation, the information is accurate to the best of my knowledge. However, some information may have changed since compiling this presentation or may change over time. So please make sure to check all the sources. For the agenda today, we're going to discuss the purpose and the benefits of the Women-Owned Small Business and the EDWOSB program, as well as the program requirements. We'll then go through the path to becoming certified, and we'll talk about betacertified.sba.gov, which is the site to apply for certification. We'll then review the timeline to certification, as well as how to maintain the certification. So the WOSB and the EDWOSB program was established by the 13th CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, and it's located at 127.100. I've provided a link here. If you'd like to read the entire regulation, you might want to do that. It provides a lot of information about the program. Then the purpose of the program was to ensure that the WOSB and the EDWOSB have an equal opportunity in federal contracting. Section 8M for the Small Business Act authorizes certain procurement mechanisms to ensure that women-owned small business have an equal opportunity to participate in federal contracting. And we'll talk about those on the next page. So some of the benefits for becoming certified WOSB and EDWOSB are that solicitations for contracts can be exclusively set aside for the woman small business and the EDWOSB. So that only those businesses can bid or propose on those solicitations guaranteeing that a woman-owned small business or the EDWOSB will receive the contract. So the contracting officer will do market research, find out that there's maybe 2 or more woman-owned small business in that category, and they'll set aside the solicitation for woman-owned business entities only. And that provides you with the opportunity to only compete amongst other woman-owned small businesses instead of all small businesses or any other category. And under certain conditions, a contracting officer can award a contract as a sole source to a woman-owned small business or an EDWOSB. But the requirement is that no other woman-owned small business or EDWOSB can compete for the requirement, which means you're the sole provider of maybe a special service or a special item or supply. And so they can set it aside to award it directly to you. Also, the ceiling for the sole source can exceed 6.5 million if you're in a manufacturing NAICS, or 4 million for a NAICS code in another manufacturing NAICS, or other than that manufacturing NAICS. So there are some conditions for the sole source to be set aside for sole source. So if you're in a special niche type category, you may look into that in marketing yourself to contracting officers. And another benefit to the program is subcontracting opportunities. Prime contractors are required to fulfill small business goals that are passed along to them by the government. And these goals include the small business program, the veteran-owned small business program, and the woman-owned small business program. So primes will actively search for small businesses and other categories that can help them fulfill their goals. There are also additional opportunities for mentorship to women-owned small businesses, and these may include the Mentor Protege program or maybe a joint venture program, and that would be something for you to look into long-term. As I mentioned earlier, there's a small business going requirement that the SBA establishes each year for the government. And it's based on fiscal year. And historically, this has been, let me advance the slide so you can see the, there we go, okay. So historically, this has been 5% of federal contracts for the woman-owned small business. And again, this is the, some of this goal is passed on to prime contractors, and that's why you may want to look into subcontracting if you're just starting out in government contracting. And as you can see, the goal is not always met each year. It was met in, last year in fiscal year 19. And you can see for FY20, it is behind. I pulled these numbers last week. So hopefully by the end of the month, 30 September is when the fiscal year ends. Hopefully we'll reach the goal of 5%. Usually at the end of September, there's a large flurry of purchases to spend all the money that was allocated for fiscal year 20. So hopefully we will meet that goal for this year. So the program requirements, the program has requirements, or eligibility requirements for the first, and the first 3 are that the entity be a small business. And it must be 51% unconditionally owned and controlled by women who are US citizens. And the woman must manage the day-to-day operations and make the long-term decisions for the business. And this is very key to the program. The woman must control and make all the decisions for the operations. And it's intended so that it's not just a figurehead of a woman with men running the business. You must show that you own it and you unconditionally run the business. It's a very important part of the program. So let's talk a little bit more about unconditional ownership. The entity, again, must be at least 51% unconditionally and directly owned by 1 or more women. Direct means the direct ownership can't be held by another company or any type of trust or other ownership combinations except for a revocable trust. in certain circumstances. The ownership also cannot be subject to acquisition by others, such as being bought out through stock options or any other means. The woman or women must own the company with no possibility that can be taken from her by others or outside entities. And continuing on with the unconditional ownership, the type of business plays a part too. Partnerships must have 51% of each class of partnership interest in unconditionally owned by one or more women. So you can have a partnership as long as 51% is owned by a woman or a combination of women. And the LLCs, also the same thing, must have 51% of each class member interest unconditionally owned by one or more women. And finally, corporations must have 51% of each class of voting stock outstanding and 51% of the aggregate of all stock outstanding unconditionally owned by one or more women. So depending on how you're organized, you'll have to look into making sure that all of your documents and paperwork assure that each owner owns 51% and that they are a woman. They are women. And then along with the unconditional ownership requirement, the women must control long-term decision-making, which includes the ability to unilaterally exercise the powers common to a corporate board of directors. In essence, all decisions must be made by the woman or the women, and no one having the ability to override the decision. The woman or women must also hold the highest position, or a woman must hold the highest position in the company and must control day-to-day management. So the bottom line of all of this is the woman must own and control absolutely the management, decision-making, and it cannot be in a position to be overruled or the company taken away from the woman or women. It's a very important part of this program. An additional part of the unconditional control is that the woman must hold the highest position and devote full time to the business concern during the normal working hours of the business, and also cannot have outside employment that prevents her from devoting sufficient time to the woman-owned small business. So in other words, the woman must be devoted full time to the business without outside employment that distracts from the running of the primary business. And I know this can be hard sometimes for a woman who's just starting up a business because you may be working another job, but part of the parameters of applying for the certification is that you're devoted full time to your business. And then men can be involved in the business, in the management, to include stockholders or partners or limited liability members, and they may maintain licensure for the business operations. But males may not exercise actual control over the concern. The woman still has to be in control and still has to make the day-to-day decisions and have the overall, be the overall decision maker. One example of the licensure is that a woman may own a construction company where the men hold the license or the certifications for the work or trade they perform, but the company is owned by the woman who makes all the decisions on how the company is managed and is responsible for all the contracts and all direction of the company. So the men can hold the licenses and perform the work, but they cannot have the control over the company. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. So this requirement is that you meet all the requirements of the contracting program. So all of the information that we just went over, the control, unconditional control and management of the company. But for the economically disadvantaged part, they must be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with a personal net worth less than $750,000. And be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with $350,000 or less in adjusted gross income, average over the previous 3 years. And then also be owned and controlled by one or more women, each $6 million or less in personal assets. And we'll go a little bit more into these dollar amounts on the next few slides. So for the income, if your adjusted gross income over the past 3 years exceeds on average $350,000, the SBA will presume that the woman is not economically disadvantaged. For that, for the adjusted gross income, you may exclude the LLC, the S Corp, or the partnership income if you can show that the income was reinvested in the company or used to pay company taxes. So it can't be, if you personally take home the income, then that will have to be added to your to your adjusted gross income. But if you reinvest that money into the business, then it does not count. And income includes all sources, not just W-2s. So if you take any ownership draws or bonuses or company stock in lieu of cash, that counts towards your adjusted gross income. But if you happen to win the lottery or get an inheritance, you can rebut that, saying that it's an unusual source to keep it from messing with your adjusted gross income. And then the woman's adjusted net worth must be under $750,000. And adjusted means that the following are excluded. So the equity in your personal residence, the equity in your woman-owned small business, and any income from the LLC, the corp, or the partnership, as long as it, again, is reinvested back into the company or used to pay the company taxes. And excluded also are any funds in your 401k or any similar retirement. Unadjusted net worth must not exceed $6 million. So the 401k or similar retirement accounts are excluded, but the primary residence and the value of the woman-owned small business is included. And again, to apply for the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, you will have to provide your spouse's financial information. You do not have to provide it if there's a legal separation or a divorce or anything of that nature. But if you're living together and filing jointly and those types of things, you will have to provide the financial information with your spouse. The financial information will be considered when the spouse has a role in the business or has lent money to, or provided credit or financial support or guaranteed a loan to the business. So if your spouse is providing money to the business, then their financial situation will be combined with yours to make the determination whether you're economically disadvantaged. And also the financial situation may be considered if the spouse's business is in the same or similar line, and the business shares a similar name or website, equipment, or employees. So there's a fine line to walking there, whether you're actually your actual women-owned small business is separate from your spouse's small business. So you'll have to provide all that information when you apply for the EDWOSB. So now we're moving on to the path to certification. So let's say that you meet all of those requirements from the previous page. Then your next step would be to apply for the certification. And the first thing that must be done is you must have a DUNS number and you must be registered in SAM, the Systems of Award Management, prior to applying for the WOSB certification. Recently, the certification process changed. As of July 15, 2020, there are now just 2 ways to be certified, and those are through the SBA certification site, which is a free application online. And the second choice is through a third-party certifier, which requires a fee. Now, the certification site is where you have to gather all your documents and go through the certification process online and answer all the questions and provide your documents. The third-party certifier is someone that will help you collect all your documents and review your documents and then provide you with the certification. So it's more of a hands-on type application where there's someone there to help you with the documents and putting it together. However, the third-party certifier does cost a fee. I'm not totally sure what the fee is. I heard it's probably about $300, but if you decide to go the third party, I would check with each of the third-party certifiers to check what their fee is. And I do have links for the third-party certifiers later in the slides. The self-certification process, which was what the woman-owned small business was previously. You could just go in and self-certify to all this information and say, yes, I'm a woman-owned small business. I meet all these requirements. And now they're doing away with that. So they want to have tighter control over who is actually a woman-owned small business and who is receiving all the benefits of a woman-owned small business or an economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. So self-certification will go away at the end of October, or I mean, October 15th, 2020. So if you're self-certified now, you'll want to go in and apply for the certification or go through the third-party certification. However, if you have a current contract where you're self-certified, you do not have to hurry up and get certified to keep your contract. The self-certification will last throughout the course of the contract. However, you will need to be certified if you apply for or propose for another contract under the woman-owned small business set aside. So it's very important to go in and go ahead and get that certification if you meet all the requirements to be a woman-owned small business. If you happen to be a veteran-owned small business or 8A certified woman-owned small business, you can also apply that certification towards your woman-owned small business. You would just, there's a place in the actual certification application where you can provide that information, and it just shows that you're already certified under one or more program with the SBA, and that will help you in completing the woman-owned small business, and more than likely will be approved as long as you meet the other requirements. If you are an active 8A business development program, you've already gone through the economic disadvantage requirement for that program, and it's exactly the same as the woman-owned small business economically disadvantaged program, so you should be automatically approved for the woman-owned small business, or the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. Here's the information on the third-party certifiers. The SBA has authorized these 4 nonprofits to perform third-party WOSB certifications. So that's the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the National Women Business Owners Corporation, the U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce, and the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. So if you would prefer to have one of those to help you with your certification, I'd like to also add that the PTAC, our PTAC, and any of the 93 other PTACs are happy to help you through this certification process as well. If you don't want, if you have trouble coming up with the fee to try and pay for the certification, we can help you as well. All you have to do is apply for our services, and you'll be assigned a procurement specialist like me, and I can help you with gathering your documents and putting it all together. So it's basically your choice how you would like to apply for the certification. You can do it on your own. You can have a PTAC help you, or you can do the third-party certification process. So you do have choices on how to apply for the certification. So one other word about the third party, they certify you with their own certification process, and it may require different information than what the SBA asks for. They not all use the same process for reviewing the documents, and the SBA can still request additional information to verify your eligibility. So once you get the third-party certification, you will still have to go into the SBA certify.gov to apply for the certification. It's just that you'll be able to upload your certification from the third-party certification, which the SBA will review when they go through the review process. So just a little caveat on that. You still have to apply in SBA certify.gov, even though you go through the third party. So the website at betacertify.gov has different links in it. And the first link that you should try is saying I'm eligible. So if you click on the I'm eligible and follow the prompts and answer all the questions, it will tell you every federal certification program that you qualify for. So it'll tell you if you qualify for woman-owned small business, the EDWOSB. It'll also tell you if you qualify for an 8A program or a hub zone program. So it will tell you every program that you qualify for and that you can apply for. For instance, these are the two items that come up if you qualify for woman-owned small business or the EDWOSB. And then it gives you a link on how to apply for the program. So that's the first step when you go into betacertify.sba.gov. You would click on the I'm eligible and run through those links and find out everything you're qualified for. The second part of the betacertify.sba.gov application, it's made easiest when you gather all of your documents and have them all together before you even start your application. So on the Certify homepage, they have a prepare link, and you should click on that and review the preparation checklist for the certification you're pursuing, either WOSB or EDWOSB. And I recommend printing them out, gathering your documents, and saving them in electronic form if you don't already have them. And I recommend that you put them in one file folder so that when you're in the application, you don't have to search around for the documents. They're all right there in one location, and it makes the certification process much easier. Another good thing about the betacertify.sba.gov site is that it has a knowledge base within the site that will help you prepare for submitting your application. So along with the checklist, it does have the external checklist. It has a quick start guide, and it has an applicant user guide, but it also has some training media and videos that show you about applying and submitting and information before you apply. It also talks about the certification options, and it gives you some facts on the third-party certifications and certifying external facts. So again, the major part of doing this certification is preparing to do the certification. So this knowledge base, I recommend that everyone, if you're going to apply, to come out here and learn all you can about the program before you apply. Now, once you do apply, the SBA will not review an incomplete package. So you may submit it, but when they review it, they find that there's some information missing or they need additional information. And so they will send you an email saying that they're returning the application to you. And then they will reopen the sections of the application. So the application goes by sections. When they return it to you, they'll open the section where they require further information. You'll be able to go back into the certification system and address those issues and upload any new documents that you need to upload that they're requesting. If your application is complete, or the SBA will advise you within 15 calendar days whether your application is complete and suitable for evaluation. And after those 15 calendar days, they will take 90 calendar days after receipt of the complete package to either certify you or not certify you. So there is some time within the process, especially since it's a new process for the SBA. So this is totally new to them. So they're still working out kinks in the platform, the certify.gov platform, as well as returning things and making the final determination. So there is some time involved in getting the certification and doing your application and getting the certification, just because it's a totally new process for everyone. And then to maintain your certification, you must annually represent to the SBA that you continue to meet all the eligibility criteria. And then they'll have a full program examination every 3 years. So you may have to resubmit documents to continue showing that that you own and unconditionally control your business. And then just a word about penalties for misrepresentation, and that's why I kind of am emphasizing that you be prepared when you're submitting the documents. If it comes to a document and you're not really sure what to submit, you know, take the time to make sure you're submitting the right documents, because you do have to certify and say that everything is correct to your knowledge. So any misrepresentation can lead to a suspension or debarment, civil penalties, or criminal penalties. And so please make sure you understand what documents that they're looking for and make sure they're complete and accurate before you submit your certification. And I do have, this is the actual beta.certify.sba.gov. That's a lot to say. This is the website for submitting your application. And just some notes here are the, here's the prepare link that I talked about, and then the I am eligible. I would go to am I eligible, and it's also down here. I would go there first and make sure that you are actually eligible for the program that you wish to apply for. Once it tells you that you are, you can come to the prepare, and I went over the documents that are in there. Download that checklist and make sure that you have all the documents that you need, and you have them saved in one location in their electronic form. And then you can also go to the knowledge base and watch the videos. And again, download a checklist if you didn't download it from the prepare. And just make sure that you're really truly ready to go into the application to submit it. And then it's a bit confusing, but when you're ready to log in to do the certification, you're going to log in down at the bottom circle. This one's for federal government employees. So contracting officers will be creating their own account and logging in so that they can verify if they're doing a woman-owned small business satisfied, they can go in and log in and make sure that you're actually certified in the system to win the award. When you log in here, this will be the same login that you use for registering in SAM, which is the login.gov. So if you, well, you have to be registered in SAM in order to apply for the certification. So you should have a login.gov account. And the other important thing is that you will need your MPIN that you created in SAM in order to claim your business. So those are some important information about actually logging in and doing the certification. And again, the biggest thing is to make sure that you are eligible. So make sure you check all those eligibility requirements off. Make sure you have all the documents to prove your eligibility. This includes the meeting minutes and your articles of organizations, your articles of incorporation. Everything must say that you own and control that business. So if you don't have those documents in order, then you need to get them in order before you apply. Also, if you're going to plan for the economically disadvantaged, make sure all your financial documents are in order that can show that you meet the requirements of the economic disadvantage. So basically, it's just prepare before you even try to go in and do the certification. And again, PTACs are here to help you with this. They do have the knowledge base if you feel like you can go through and do that yourself. And then again, there is the third-party certifiers that can walk you through that process or their process so that you can apply that way. So please don't feel like you have to go it alone. Please reach out to a PTAC if you need the help. And any other women organization I'm sure would help you, such as our host today. I'm sure that they would help you prepare your documents or gather your documents, and then they may turn you over to us to help you out. So I want you to feel like that you're not alone in trying to do this. There's help out there, and we can do that for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to James to talk about our upcoming events, and then we will do questions.
Nancy, thank you so much for an informative presentation. I appreciated that. So now we have plenty of time for questions, but first I want to get to some of the upcoming events that we have. These are all on our calendar at norcalptac.org. In general, I would encourage you to go check out our website. It's loaded with all sorts of good information, pages on COVID, pages on fire response and recovery, all of our old webinars, upcoming webinars. But if you do any sort of contracting where you're in charge of sensitive data, we have a cybersecurity CMMC update Q&A coming up in just about a week on September 23rd. Just about all of our webinars are at 10 a.m. Looks like one of them's at 11 a.m. We've got an intro to government contracting for woman-owned businesses with the Jedi on October 1st. More woman-owned small business certification. That is a repeat of this webinar. So if you've been to this one, you probably don't need to go to that one, but you can tell your friends that it was great and you recommend it, and they can go to the same thing again on October 6th. And then we have these two webinars, October 7th and 8th. We had a matchmaking event planned, and for COVID reasons, it did not happen, but we still made all these matches, and we wanted to share some of the research we did on how to do matchmaking and how to do good networking. So we have a power pitch webinar, and we have this virtual matchmaking and networking webinar. Those are going to be really useful for any company that is wondering how they can they can network with large primes or government agencies. So like I said, go ahead and check them out on the website. And now let's get on to the Q&A here. Thanks for putting in your questions as we go along. Let me just get some of these out of the way.
I think
Thank you. Sophia asks, are sole proprietorships eligible?
yes,
I assume she means, yeah.
yes, sole proprietorships are eligible. In fact, that's probably the easiest one to prove that you own and control your business, because you don't have the LLC, the organization, and all the information that comes with being part of a corporation or LLC. So yes, sole proprietors are probably the easiest ones to do.
Elena is asking, how do we access DUNS number and SAM? That's a whole nother topic for
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. We do help you with that if you want to become a client of PTAC. We can actually call and get your DUNS number for you, and then walk you through the SAM certification. Otherwise, I would direct you. We have webinars on that, don't we, James?
Yeah, in our norcalptac.org/webinars, we have an archive, and it's under resources and past webinars.
Mm-hmm.
We have dozens of webinars that we've held, and there's definitely ones about SAM.
But I have to say it is easier to walk through with someone who has knowledge of SAM, because it's very difficult application to do. So you can just sign up and be a Norcal PTAC client, just for that information if you like. We're happy to walk you through that. We do it almost every day, so we can get you through it quickly.
Jeremy says, we are already WOSB certified. Do we have to recertify before October 15th?
So the question there is, are you self-certified? If you are self-certified, then yes, you need to go on and do the application, because self-certification is going away the 15th of October. You'll no longer be able to claim self-certification as a woman-owned small business. So that's why we're having this this training to get that information out there. Self-certification is going away, and you must apply for certification to meet the requirements of a woman-owned small business.
All right, thank you. Lisa asks, is there a certification number or other identification for a WOSB?
I'm not sure if they're, because they're still doing the initial, like I said, it's kind of a fluid process right now, because it's all brand new. I'm not sure if SBA is giving you a certification number. I do know that they'll probably send you an email or some type of certification letter saying that you're now certified, that you can use if you're answering a solicitation. Also, as I mentioned, contracting officers will be able to log in to the certification portal and look you up to make sure that you are certified. However, I do not know if they are going to provide numbers, certification numbers, such as the state does.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you self-certify?
Well, you can't.
Might not be helpful.
Yeah, you can't really self-certify anymore. You need to go in and certify. I mean, if you want to do it for 30 days, you're more than welcome to, but that would be at certify.sba.gov, the regular site, not the beta certify. However, I would just go ahead and do the certification because it is self-certification is going away. So there's really no point in doing that.
Okay. Someone's asking, that is quite a label, economically disadvantaged. Is there not a better term or designation?
I don't set the name, the SBA sets the name. So you'll have to take it up with the SBA. I think someone was wanting the links in the chat. So
that's right. I'm not sure exactly what links you're talking about, but everyone will be receiving these slides in PDF form later today. So you can copy and paste the links to your heart's delight. If you have a specific link you'd like, we can, of course, copy it over to the chat if you'd like. Just let us know.
Right. Yeah. You'll have the slides. They'll have the slides today, right?
Yeah. Basically, the video needs to process. Then I need to upload it to YouTube and then post it to our website.
Right.
Typically, it doesn't take longer than 2 or 3 hours. So by the afternoon, everyone should have the slides. You can check back on our website for it at maybe about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's answering a lot of questions. What is an NPIN?
Okay, it's an NPIN. It's a personal identification number, and you actually set that up when you register in SAM. So if you haven't registered in SAM yet, that would be the first step in doing the certification. And again, we can walk you through that, as I said previously. And it's an NPIN is it's kind of an important number within all of the databases and information you're going to access for the government. So, but you start that process in SAM, and then it's an important number to keep a hold of because, like I said, you'll use it in other platforms.
All right. Ryan asks, can you only work with your local PTAC for certifications? PTACs, we are restricted to work with clients that have businesses that are located in our service area. So if you're not in our service area, you're probably in the service area of another PTAC. And that there's a link on the slide right now, apptac.org/find-a-PTAC. That'll enable you to find your local PTAC. So yeah, PTACs in general are restricted to work with local clients. We can certainly help you with certifications, though. That's one of the main things we do.
Yeah.
What is an 8A certification program?
So an 8A program is a special program within the SBA for disadvantaged or minority-owned small businesses. There's an application process for that. All of the financial information that I just went through for the woman-owned small business is the same for the 8A program. And so that's why they're doing reciprocity for the certification, because if you're already an 8A, you've already proved you're disadvantaged. So you can move smoothly through the woman-owned small business certification. Again, you can look that up under the SBA, the 8A program, or I believe we probably have a webinar on it that's already taped. But that's a long discussion to get into about what it is.
You can definitely find webinars on 8A on our website as well.
Yeah.
Can you apply? We do business in the Bay Area and Sacramento. Can we work with a single point of contact through Norcal PTAC team for both? If you do business, it doesn't really matter where you do business. For us, as far as being a client, it matters where your business is headquartered. So if you're looking for a procurement specialist with Norcal PTAC, your business should be headquartered in our service area. Will we have enough time to apply for DUNS number in time to apply at SBA for woman-owned business?
Yes, you'll have to have the DUNS number and register in SAM. So if you would like to do that, again, you can sign up for our services, and it takes about, well, we have a direct line to the DUNS, and we can get your DUNS number in a day. And it takes about an hour to go through the SAM registration. And then after the SAM registration, it takes about 2 weeks to get your cage code and be set up in SAM. And then you can do the woman-owned small business certification. And again, the timeline for the woman-owned small business certification is 90 days after you put it in. But if you apply for the certification and you can show it's in process, and you happen to find a woman-owned small business set aside that you want to go for, you can simply provide that you are in the certification process with the SBA. You can just provide the information that you are in the process in order to bid on that solicitation. So they're making it fairly easy because they know it's going to take some time to get all the certifications approved.
All right, great. How do you determine what NAICS your business type has? For instance, agriculture.
Yeah. So you can Google NAICS codes. There is one good site. It's a government site. I just can't think of it. I think it's the Commerce Department that has a list of NAICS codes where you can search. So you could put in agriculture, and it'll bring you up all the NAICS codes that belong to agriculture, and then you can sort through and find the one that is particular to you. Again, you can do that on your own, or PTAC will be happy to help you with that as well. We can help you determine your NAICS, as well as registering in SAM and getting the DUNS number and all of that good stuff. That's what we do every single day, so we're happy to help you.
Right. We're getting a couple questions about contacting Nancy directly. Nancy is super friendly and helpful, but we are, because of the format of our grant funding, we assist clients we put clients in touch with procurement specialists once they have an application on file. So we can track things like your business information, demographics, and so you can sign our user agreement. So if you want to get in touch with a procurement specialist, apply on our website. That's the best way. If you email Nancy directly looking for procurement assistance, not because she's rude, but she generally will have to forward it to me, and I will ask you to apply. It's just one of these hoops we got to jump through. We are eager to help you out. It's just a little bit of a hoop. It's all free, and we try to make it as easy as possible.
Right, and all the procurement specialists know how to do all these processes. But you may request me if you like.
Yasmin is asking, do you find this process to be worthwhile for a woman-owned restaurant?
Well, I don't know how many federal contracts there are for a woman-owned small business restaurant. So this is a federal program. If you happen to maybe want to do some catering, or you want to provide food for, I know San Francisco and a couple of other places, they have the meal plates that they're looking for to be like packaged lunches, and things like that, but that is a state or a city requirement. So the answer depends. If you want to do like some catering or providing sack lunches or things of that nature for the federal government, then yeah, it's a good way to go. If you're just going to have restaurant services, I don't think there's too many federal contracts for just restaurant services. So it just depends.
Great. Vivienne is asking, what's the difference between WOSB and WBENC?
Business. Maybe our guest can answer that. The Woman-Owned Small Business is a certification program, and I think the other one is just a, is that a local certification?
It's a national council. They certify, but I don't think for government contracting, as I understand.
Yeah, the only third parties that that work with the SBA are those ones that I mentioned that are in the slides. Okay. So if you have a certification from WBENC, I think it was.
Yeah.
That will not transfer over to the woman-owned small business. The difference is the woman-owned small business is a SBA federally run certification program, and the WBENC is just a national, probably like a corporate type of certification or a state certification or
support system. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Certification on the site is free though, correct? Someone's asking.
On which site? The Beta Certify?
Are there any any of these certification sites to the SBA that charge?
The third party, if you go through a third party for certification, they're going to charge you for the certification. But if you go look for the information on the SBA site at the Beta Certify, all that information you get for free.
Okay.
And there's no charge. Just it's free to certify through sbacertify.gov. You don't have to pay anything.
Okay.
I think that answers the question.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay. We're getting lots of questions. I like this audience. We're nice and engaged.
Yeah, I know.
This is great.
Usually we have crickets.
Sometimes we do. Shirley wonders, can you certify for both WOSB and 8A during certification?
You can do both. It's separate process. If you're going to do the 8A, I would do the 8A first, and then that makes it easier to do the woman-owned small business. But you can apply for them both at the same time. It's just going to, like I said, the economic part of the disadvantage for 8A is the same as the woman-owned economic disadvantage. So you can do them at the same time if you like, or you can try for the 8A first. Just up to you and your, would depend on your situation and things like that. So I would get with a counselor to see what the best way to go is for you, but you can apply for them both at the same time.
Carolyn is asking how much is a third party charge to assist with certification? I guess that would assume a third party.
Yeah, I've heard anywhere between 300 and 600. I think it depends on the organization.
Lisa wonders, are cage codes still being used? I thought NAICS was the current code protocol. That's a complicated question.
Cage and NAICS are two different things. A cage code is for an entity, and NAICS codes are for the type of business that you're in or the type of manufacturing you're in. Cage codes are still used, and that's part of the SAM process. You get a DUNS number, you register in SAM, and then you get your cage code. That's the process for going through SAM and registering in SAM. During the SAM process, you will have to upload what NAICS codes that your industry or business is, and you'll have to select a primary NAICS code.
All right. We're getting questions about the slides again. These will all be emailed to you. It's going to be on our website under norcalptech.org/webinars. Are there ways to find what types of government contracts are available to see if it applies?
What was it again? I'm sorry.
Nyla is asking, are there ways to find what types of government contracts are available to see if it applies? Assuming to see if the WOSB would be helpful, I assume.
Well, usually in the solicitation, it's going to say whether it's set aside for a woman-owned small business. You can always do some data mining and find out how previous awards were made for your NAICS or your industry. But again, that's something to talk about offline or get with a counselor about. Not something I can give you within this presentation.
And that would be through FPDS or something?
Yeah, FPDS. You can do data mining in there and see which which contracts in your NAICS code were set aside for women-owned small business to see how many were. But again, once you get the certification, it's also about marketing yourself to contracting officers and small business advocates, putting your name out there as a woman-owned small business so that contracting officers know that there is a woman-owned small business that they can set aside to. So just getting the certification is part of it, but then you also need to market yourself.
Unless I'm mistaken, you gave a webinar on FPDS, didn't you?
I did, yes.
That should be on the website as well.
Yeah, it's under market research, I believe.
That's right. Is this good for an IT consultancy business, Black woman owned in San Francisco? Kat asks.
This is a federal program. Maybe our contributor wants to talk more about what would be available in San Francisco.
Yeah, so you can contact us and we can go through with you what different programs are available to help you better understand what your opportunities may be. There's different websites we can share with you. And you can reach us through anewamerica.org.
All right. Thank you. Let me skip a couple questions here. We're asking about specific industries. We're running out of time here, so I'm gonna skip the ones that are a little too specific.
Yeah, if you have a more specific question, not about women on small business, please become a client. We can walk you through those.
Right. Yeah. Don't mean to be rude. It's
Yeah.
some people, a question about, cleaning supplies is not going to apply for everybody. So,
right.
Is it a separate process to apply for the EDWOSB certification?
You have to qualify for the woman-owned small business certification in order to apply for the EDWOSB, and you can do it all at the same time. So not a separate process. It's just whether you qualify or not for it. You can do it all at the same time.
And I think I'll make this last question here. Lisa is wondering if there's an icon or logo that folks typically use in advertising for being a WOSB. Are you aware of that?
I'm not sure if SBA allows you to use the logos. I know the VA has a logo. I think 8A has a logo. I think that's something probably that needs to be asked of SBA, or I can find out for sure. I'm not sure if they've gotten that far and whether they're going to allow a logo to be applied to maybe a capability statement or something of that nature. A lot of things are still kind of up in the air about the whole program. Like I said, it's just beginning to do this certification program, so there's still a lot of questions and there's still a lot of gaps and issues. So.
All right, so I think we'll call that a wrap. Just want to let you guys know, when you exit this webinar, you're going to be routed to a Google form that's a satisfaction survey. If you enjoyed this webinar, or if not, just let us know in that form how we did. It helps us stay funded. It's important for our funder, and it's also important for us to keep improving our services. So huge thanks to Darlene Neal and the Anew America Women's Business Center in Oakland for partnering with us. And thanks for Nancy Pigeon for putting in all this research and time and presentation for this. And thanks for all of you for dedicating part of your morning to learning with us. So
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.